Good morning, everybody. I believe we are live. Let me know how I sound and everything looks okay, as far as I can tell it is. And happy Wednesday to all of you. Welcome back to Fitness Marketing Hub. And today we are going to be joined by James Patrick. We're going to be talking about getting exposure for yourself and for your brands that obviously your YouTube channel is going to benefit from. So James should be joining us probably in about, I would say, 10 minutes or so. I just sent him the link to log in. James, if you happen to be listening, log in anytime. But yeah, other than that, how's everybody's week been? Hopefully good. The other thing about today, we're going to be reviewing some thumbnails. If any of you haven't already and you'd like to, join the Facebook group. The link is if you go to the channel main page, the link is there. It's a private group. I will add you. And if you want to have your thumbnails reviewed, one thing about James is he is here. So I will jump in and James can tell you in his own words. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Let me plug in here.
Gorgeous setup you have.
What's that?
Is that a gorgeous setup you have?
I got plants since the last time you were here. I'm getting fancy now. All right. Can you hear me okay, James?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
All right. I'm going to switch your mic. Audio. Just say something for me there, James.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Perfect. Now I got you my earbuds, so I don't miss anything. All right. We're good. We're good. So what's new, man? You're busy.
Been extremely busy. I'm coming to you from our new studio that we are in the process of getting opened up here in Arizona. So it's been about a week and a half straight of tenant improvements as we're building out the psych wall, prepping out both a photo studio, a video production studio, as well as a podcast recording studio. So it has been kind of all hands on deck on top of the conference coming up, on top of a child coming into the world here in the next month and a half. So all things converging simultaneously.
Yeah, congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you so much. How have things been going for you?
Busy. It's been busy because of myself, because I took some time off in August and went back home, finally got a chance to travel and just kind of took a break from things. So now I'm back and I'm behind and I'm motivated. So I got new ideas, of course, and trying to crunch all that stuff together. I've also got a presentation I have to prep for you in the next probably 48 hours. So yeah, things are good. Looking forward to hopefully a busy fall.
Good. I'm proud of you. That's exciting to hear.
Yeah. So we'll jump right in, James. I mean, obviously we're talking today about exposure, whether it's somebody who's a freelance personal trainer or some form of health and fitness, using YouTube, not using YouTube, what have you. We're talking about getting exposure on their brand to obviously elevate their value, which is something I know you know very well. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Fitposium is essentially what this is about. And just to preface, guys, James hosts a conference every year. I believe this is the 6th year, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Fitposium. It's in Arizona. He now actually has a virtual pass to the conference as well, which we are going to be giving one away today, and you'll find out how shortly. But basically, in a world of fitness conferences to improve your fitness skills, James, this is very much focused more towards the business side of fitness, correct? Or
yeah. We actually started, this will be our 7th year, and it's kind of crazy to kind of look at the evolution of it, because it just started as this idea where so many of my clients as a photographer were struggling with their brand recognition, struggling with generating leads for their business, struggling to know how to properly funnel those leads into their business. And we just decided, you know what if we just gathered people in the health and wellness space together and just shared best practices, shared strategies, shared tips. And if we did that, how much further could we all go as a community? So we started this back in 2015. There was just 50 people of us crammed in a little Holiday Inn Express, actually just right down the road from where I am right now. And from there, I mean, it grew up to the size of, I mean, at one point we had 500 people in a massive venue, sharing experiences over the course of 4.5, 5 days. We've really niched down in the last year and a half because what entrepreneurs need has shifted in the last year and a half. And what our focus is helping our attendees, whether they're personal trainers, gym owners, coaches, podcasters, influencers, helping them grow brand awareness, amplify their brand authority, and generate leads for their business by leveraging the power of earned media. Magazine features, podcast features, speaking on stages, getting involved in events, partnering with influencers, doing whatever it is to get in front of their target audience where their audience already is, and then giving a reason for that audience to enter back into their ecosystem.
Mhm.
So this year we've partnered with 32 different media partners, yourself included, but we have 17 magazine partners, 9 podcast partners, 6 digital platform partners, all joining together to give attendees opportunities to earn media features to grow their brand awareness, because it is one of the fastest and most effective ways to generate leads for your business, which is getting in front of your audience and your target audience where they already are versus trying to stand out on Instagram at this point in time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the Instagram thing I gave up on long ago as far as recommendations. So give me kind of an overview of Fitposium as far as like what the expectations are of somebody going in terms of genres covered. I mean, we're going to get more specific into the exposure stuff eventually, but I mean, you've got a huge variety. Like if any of you guys haven't checked out fitposium.com, James has all the speakers listed on there, and it's essentially covers every aspect from production stuff with me to people who specialize in SEO, people who specialize in just live presentations and owning a stage and things like that. But James, you can tell far better than I can what the expectation would be for somebody who shows up, whether it be virtual or in person.
I mean, our dividing line of how we determine the content we host at the conference really falls onto our 3 pillars. Does it help people build, market, and profit from their brand in the health and wellness space? And if it does, then we want that style of presentation at the event. So there are going to be 2 types of presentations that individuals who are attending virtually could get access to. We have our live presentations. The live presentations are going to be focused exclusively on earned media. So we're going to be talking about getting published in magazines, landing features on podcasts, speaking on stages, TV media training, as well as developing your own content. So how you curate your own brand or your own channel online and use that as a way to filter in your audience. Then we have a whole host. I think we have like upwards of 24 amazing presenters, yourself included, who are creating on-demand content that's covering basically everything else that one could do to build, market, and profit from a brand. As you mentioned, everything from SEO strategy, developing your own content platforms, Facebook algorithms, how to understand like how to leverage and build your brand, leveraging new channels like TikTok. It is so robust that the intention is we don't just want to overload you with information and then come Monday you just don't know what to do. Like we actually will walk you through taking the steps so that come Monday you've already taken major steps and you've already taken action that is leaning into getting work done, to actually implementing all these strategies or all these tactics into your brand. Because I don't know if you're like me, like I always get so dismayed when I go to a conference. I get all lit up with inspiration, but then I go home and then nothing's happened. We actually are going to work during this event. So you actually do work at the event. So things get done at the event. So you don't have to wait till Monday and then feel like, well, now I'm overwhelmed and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. The thing I find even working with people specific to YouTube content is it can be very overwhelming at first because a lot of people go into this and the expectation is, I create workouts, people come see them. Eventually those people become more, and then I start making a lot of money off Google. And it's like, from my perspective, and this is the stuff that I'll be touching on, there's all these other facets that not only increase the process of getting that exposure, but improve, how much money you can potentially make, and, multiple revenue streams. So if one dips, it's not as bad because you've got seven, and things like that. But I know with these conferences, that's oftentimes what will happen is somebody goes there and, the expectation is they're going to talk about, different ways to do an arm curl. And then they find out things, like SEO and all these different things that matter. And truthfully, my feeling is that once you learn to understand these, which is exactly why a conference like this is so important, it's not as bad. To me, it's just like making a template of your business, that works for you. And then as you move forward and start to progress, like, it's not that difficult. And then the great part of it is you own your brand, and you understand it, how it works, and then obviously how to make money with it.
I think so much of it is when we keep it as an idea, it seems bigger and it seems scarier, and it seems like we're able to build it up into this mountain-sized obstacle. But when we actually, during the conference, when we just force you to do things right then and there in real time, like, you're going to work on this right now. And, if for those who have never pitched to a magazine, we're going to force you to send your first pitch that weekend, and it's going to seem big and it's going to seem scary. And then once you hit that send button, then you're like, well, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
And now I can do it again, because now you have proof of concept. Now it's like, well, if it was that easy to send the first one, it's going to be a lot easier to send the next 19. And then all of a sudden you've sent 20 and you're well on your way to landing that first feature.
Yeah.
But when we keep it here, we start to really make it much bigger than it needs to be and much scarier than it needs to be. And that, you can, I'm using the example of pitching, but you can use that in a business. Like, I could boil down launching a business into, you need something to sell, you need a way to take the money, and you need a way to give them what they purchase. Like, I think about my first online business, it was ebooks, but I didn't have a way to automate it. So it was like, all right, well, I made this ebook, email me and send me your PayPal information. And then I'll invoice you over PayPal. And once I get your PayPal, I'll email you the book. Like, I mean, it was so awfully constructed, but it made money. And then I eventually figured out, oh, okay, now I can systemize this. And there's a way to make a shopping cart, and there's a way to automatically send out the ebook, so I don't have to respond every time I get something. Like, you're able to refine in real time, but we think that we have to complete this perfect business 5 years down the road, when really we just need the nuts and bolts today. Yeah.
That's something that I'm going through right now. When I started my second channel, this channel, this was initially just going to be behind the scenes of shoots and that sort of thing. I think we've discussed that before, but it was one or two videos that were kind of angled towards building a fitness channel that took off, which slowly morphed into this, which has now morphed into products and services. And I realized just a few months ago, because it's been growing and growing, and the revenue from it has been growing and growing, this is going to implode at some point if I don't get it basically organized. Even doing things like a Zoom consultation call, it's like, okay, I can handle 15 or 20 consultation calls a month, but what happens if that goes to 40? What happens if that goes to 60? And I realize that I'm not designed to scale. And that's the thing is and I know a lot of the people that watch this and that I work with are in the same boat, where their entire business model for making money is clunky and disorganized. And that's why I'm glad there's something out there like this that kind of focuses on the business aspect of it, to kind of give them some of these different angles that they can take to improve SEO, to how to basically set up multiple revenue streams and have them kind of seamless, where it's not something that requires your attention every day and stuff like that. So for any of you guys that have just joined us, I'm going to bring this up a few times as people come and go, but James is going to be offering one of you a virtual pass. And basically all that I want you to do is share this live stream right now. Whether it be on your Instagram, on your Facebook, on both, and then basically tag us, tag James, J Patrick Photo on Instagram, Regan_Rogerson. It's up here in the corner somewhere. And at the end of the day, what I'm going to do is on the Facebook private community, I'll go through, and anybody who's tagged us, their name will be put in a hat, and we'll do that draw, and you will be giving a virtual pass, which if you happen to be in the Arizona area, you can put that towards purchasing a in-person pass, because I do know that some of you, such as Val, are in the Arizona area. Val just moved there actually, and she's going to be completely starting over fitness in a new city. So could be good for you, Val. If you're
there are worse places to be than Phoenix to start, or I assume Phoenix, but Arizona to start a health and wellness brand. It is ubiquitous here, and it's doing very well.
Awesome. So guys, just basically share the live stream, tag us in it, and then let us know somehow. And basically we'll collect all that information. And also, while I'm at that, don't forget to give this live stream a like if you like it. If you don't, just say nothing. All right. So I think one of the first things that will come up, James, that whether anybody will actually ask this or not, but when people think of, magazine covers, because I know this has been one of the things that you discussed a lot in building up, like the potential to be discovered, to be put on a magazine cover. A lot of people automatically associate that with fitness models. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with that? Do you think this is something like because I know I've got there's such a wide variety of people on this channel, from personal trainers to people that are attractive women over 50, attractive men over 50, people who are specialized in yoga and things like that, and they may think that just upon hearing that it's like, oh, it's a fitness model thing for a muscle mag or that style of bodybuilding magazine, but that's not, because there's a lot of magazines involved in this, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
I mean 32 media partners, 17 being magazines. One of the biggest myths is that, one, you need to be some sort of celebrity, and I'll swap out celebrity for like fitness influencer, like with a big following / like this highly bookable fitness model. Okay, that's the assumption. It's a wrong assumption. Mm-hmm. And the other assumption is that you need to do something really big, and that media will then notice you and then come running to you. Right. Neither's true. The reason the first, like in my career as a photographer, I've shot more than 500 magazine covers. Out of those 500 magazine covers, less than 10%, less than 50 were anyone of a celebrity status. Okay, which means the majority, 450 plus, were individuals who just had an impactful story to share that resonated with that media outlet. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now that's just covers. Looking at interior features, I've shot tens of thousands of interior features, and I would estimate that less than a fraction of 1% were anyone of a celebrity status. Okay, which means overwhelmingly there are individuals who have something important to share. Like I've been podcasting for 10 years, and out of all the podcast interviews I've done, and I've done hundreds of podcasts. I mean, I've done a handful of celebrity interviews, but I'm trying to find individuals who have an important story to share for my audience. And when you look at our 32 media partners, which 17 magazine features, 9 podcast features, 6 digital platforms and digital publications, they are giving opportunities to individuals who need to get in front of their audience. So like, I don't have a ton of magazines here. We just moved into the studio, but when I look at some of the covers I look at here, like I look at our client, Samantha, mm-hmm. who Samantha in no way, shape, or form I would call a fitness model. She's never done any professional modeling work. She's never done any high-end photo shoot work. She was a personal trainer who wanted to grow her brand awareness. So we helped her develop her story, helped her pitch to this magazine, and we got to shoot her for the cover of this magazine, which drastically increased the number of leads she was getting into her business. All right. So this helped her 2x her leads in the month that this dropped out locally because people wanted to work with her. Yeah. Or, I look at, this cover I shot of Natalie Jill. I mean, Natalie, she's 48 at the time we're shooting this cover. So when people tell me that, you know what, I'm over 35, I can't do it, or I'm over 40, I can't do it, or I'm 50, I can't do it. Like, she was 48 when we shot this cover, and she's still shooting now. And this was 2 years ago. Like, I look at like this cover of Fitness magazine I did, and this looks great. This was my production assistant, Amber. Okay, someone who had never done any professional work at all. We just created a shot that we were really proud of, and we shared it with the magazine, and the magazine loved it and ended up putting it on their cover. Like, she had never done any high-end features before. This was her first one. This is not for professionals. This is not for, I mean, when I say professionals, like people who have lots of experience being in front of the camera. This is for individuals who have an important story to share, who want to get in front of an audience that media outlet has, whether it's a magazine or a podcast. But you could sub that out. Like, when I say earned media, that could be speaking at a conference. That's still an earned audience. That could be like, I was just featured on a TV show 2 weeks ago. That's still an earned audience. I did a radio interview not too long ago. That's still an earned audience. Being on this platform, it is an earned audience. And what we're going to teach you to do is how to get in front of these earned audiences, to share your story, to share what it is, who you are, what you do, and most importantly, why it matters.
For people that are not as familiar with the process of that, as a photographer, do you work with people and submit to magazines? Do magazines contact you and say, James, we're looking for such and such. Have you, do you know anybody you could recommend? Like, what's the process of these people even getting into that situation to submit?
All the above. So like, I look at, like, this just came in the mail yesterday. It was a fashion cover I shot. This one, they just called me and they said, we want you to photograph this individual for our next cover. I got that call. Same with that cover of Strong. Then there are times where a magazine will come to me and say, you know what, like this happened yesterday. A magazine came to me and says, we're looking for a new cover. We need kind of a unique photo. What do you have that would fit within this? So if individuals have done their marketing, not just to the magazines, but to the people who work for the magazines, the writers, the photographers, the contributors, well, then they're going to be pooled in for that consideration, right? And then other times it's working in tandem with the subject to create those press materials. Like I did a project last week where it was the Warner family. So Kurt Warner, Super Bowl champion Kurt Warner, his wife Brenda. Their company hired me to do publicity photos for them because there's a new movie coming out about Kurt Warner's life. And the Warners are just going in front of different media outlets to tell his story again in combination with this movie that's being dropped. So there I'm working in tandem with the subject to create this package. Or like Cali Bundy, who comes out once a year and hires me for a full day photo shoot, and we just take those assets and we take her story, and she and I then work that around to different publications to pick up features like her recent cover of Strong or a recent cover of Portfolio magazine.
Yeah, Cali's a great example of somebody who knows how to leverage media, and I've worked with Cali through my past job, and even since then, she's actually got some videos on my workout channel, and she understands that process from a business standpoint. And yeah, she's great one to follow.
She took that from like what she landed a cover of, it was Fitness RX. From there, leveraged that, we shot together and we landed the cover of Fitness magazine. She leveraged that, landed, started to grow her social media accounts, really blew up on Instagram, landed on Sports Center, leveraged that, then landed the cover of Strong Fitness magazine, took that, landed a TV spot on TBS. So it's like she's taking these opportunities and then applying it to the next thing, and then leveraging that and applying it to the next thing. And that's, you're watching this equity grow as she's subtly pushing whatever product or service she has on the back end, so she's able to get the revenue from it.
Yeah, and I mean, a great point with Cali is that, she's an attractive woman, but a lot of the initial hype with Cali was throwing a football. And then it's like, oh, she throws a football like a quarterback in the NFL, plus she's a good looking girl. And so it's not always what you would expect that gets you in front of the cameras and gets you the exposure. Because I know that was a big thing with ESPN was was this ability to throw football. And like you say, she just continuously, leveraged that and used it to boost new things. And so, yeah, a great example of someone to follow, guys, in social media if you want to see how it's done properly. And I know for a fact that she's done a good job with it and she's profited from it. So that's the dream.
I mean, she was able to niche down and find something that no one was doing.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, how does this apply to others? Well, what is it in your? You could look at your background, you can look at your experience, your methodology, your approach, your story, how your presentation, how you work with clients, like any of it can be used as a differentiator to create a unique platform for yourself where you're not going to be compared to others because you have your own thing, your own brand, your own ecosystem that people are seeing as different from what others are doing. That way it's not just I'm a personal trainer. Okay, how can we unpack that or peel back those layers a little bit more to understand what makes you unique within this industry and worth noticing?
100%. So some of the people that are involved this year, is there anybody in particular that you're excited for what they're going to be talking about?
I mean, every year we have amazing people that pop in. Like when I was looking, I was talking to one of our presenters, Felicia Romero, who, I think 11-time cover model. I say model, I really should say entrepreneur. Like I was talking to her and we realized that she's presented at every conference we've had. So 7 years in a row, we've had her up on stage. We're welcoming back Danny J to present on our stage again. Danny's been presenting with us. I think this is Danny's 4th year in a row. And she will be speaking on how to earn speaking engagements. She became a TEDx speaker within the last year, and her entire business platform has been on getting on stages to present to great audiences. We have Matt Gottesman, who is a brilliant digital marketing strategist, and as well as a savant when it comes to building your own media platforms. And he'll be speaking about how one can become their own publisher. We have, for the first time ever, we have someone representing the TV media. We have independent publishers involved this year. We have one of the most creative art directors here, and we're super excited for that. So it's like this amazing wealth of knowledge. And the really thing is, like I look at our conference in 7 years. In 7 years, and this is full transparency, 7 years we've paid one speaker, and it was a mistake. In 7 years, we paid one speaker to present our conference, and it wasn't even a good speaker. And we haven't done it since. And the reason is because the individuals who present want to present. They want to get in front of this audience, and they want to help this audience. So you will not find a more supportive community who's there to show up, to support you, to help you, and to guide you to navigate through this industry.
Yeah, like I know when you approached me, the benefit for me with this is exposure. Exactly what we're talking about today.
100%.
Because I may put out a video discussing all things YouTube and how to utilize that to build your brand. 150 people may watch it. 15 of those people may decide to follow me on social media. 5 of those people could become clients. And it's always playing those odds. I've said before, even with brand sponsorships, I reached out to probably 250 plus brands, both in and out of the fitness industry, to try and get sponsors on my channel. And from that, I got about 10 replies. And from that, I got 3 sponsors. Those 3 sponsors are better than a lot of personal trainers make in a year. And it's just playing those odds. It seems like the percentages are really low, but when you put that together, it's we're all building our brands in one way or another. And that's why, like, something I'm personally very big on, and I repeat it a lot with clients, is a lot of people that I work with are in the early stages of growing their brand through YouTube. And they hear us talk about, SEO and membership sites and all these different things. And they think, well, I'm not there yet. And it's like, you should be there before you start, in my opinion. I don't know what your opinion is on this, but for me, it's like, this is a reverse engineer process where you where you want to be, and then you start working backwards, and so like I think I used an analogy just last week on here where I talked about sandbags. If I have branded or designed the perfect sandbag and I want to sell it, and I'm going to use YouTube as that catalyst, I know that where I make my money is selling sandbags. So it's like, okay, so I need a community of people that are sandbag enthusiasts. So I need to do sandbag videos. So I needed to, and you just kind of start working backwards. Then you start working forwards to that goal. So all of that stuff matters now. If your ideal goal is to have a separate website off of a platform like YouTube where you have members, and I actually recommend this because YouTube could collapse at any time. We don't know. Then you think about that. It's like, what am I going to offer on my free platform to bring them in without giving away the farm, so that I can somehow have value in a personal membership site where they come in and and that starts from day one, not day 1000. So that's why conferences like this and all these little aspects, whether it's SEO, digital marketing, exposure, how to get on a brand cover, how to get an article in a magazine, it's all important now, not in 3 years' time. Personal opinion on that, but I have a feeling you probably are in the same boat as me.
I had this, it was about 2 years ago. I got a call to shoot this magazine cover, and it was a local gym owner who had pitched himself to this magazine and had, perfect example. This was not a celebrity. This was not a model. This is someone who really had never even been on camera before. The story he pitched was, a certain number of years in business, with his physical gym, and it resonated with the magazine enough that they were not only given a feature, but they're like, you know what, we're going to give you a cover. So amazing opportunity. So I go out to photograph this guy, and no, I would not say a tech savvy individual, but he says, as we're wrapping up the shoot and I'm packing up the gear, he says, so when does this come out? I'm like, well, about 3 weeks, this will drop. And the print issue will be out, just because local media works on a short production schedule. And he says, okay, so what do I do to like leverage this? Like, how do I? And I'm like, this is a dangerous time to be asking this question. Like I was like, do you have a website? He's like, not really. I'm like, what's your social media presence? He's like, well, we have an Instagram, but we don't really use it. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, I need 5 minutes of your time, because you can't allow this to come out and you not be prepared for what is about to happen.
Yeah.
Because this magazine, like this one here, this 30 days, this is out. And after 30 days, I will have shot the new cover and the new issue will be out. So if this individual is not capitalizing on this for the next 30 days, that window is going to close. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, I had a client, this was about 10 years ago, who wanted to pitch to media. She had the right look. She had the right story. She had the right brand. It just worked. And she landed not one, not two, but 3 printed magazine covers, okay, off a single photo shoot. It was that dynamic. I ran into her a year later and asked, how are things going? And she was out of business. She was out of business because she had no idea what to do with all that attention and all that potential leverage that she garnered.
Yeah.
And it went away. It went away because if she's not set up for it, that audience who's looking into her is like, well, all right, I'll just move on to the next thing. What's new? Okay. Yeah. What could serve me? Like, we as consumers, we as readers, we as an audience or as subscribers, we want to know what's in it for us, rightfully so. So if that person's not set up, ready to bring us in, ready to welcome us into their ecosystem, we'll just look to the next thing. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, I sat down with this guy. I was like, all right, you need at least something to be able to capture this attention, whether it's a free offer, a lead magnet, a way to grow your email list, a way to take in these new leads. And you need to get this up fast, because if you don't have this up by the time this drops and people start to look into you and they can't, if they can't find you, that's a problem. 2, if they find you, but there's not a compelling reason for them to continue to engage with you, there's a problem. So this is about understanding like how to set up this platform. And this is not about setting up this complicated funnel system. I don't want you to think it's that. It could be as simple as just an affirmation that when people seek you out, they know they found the right person. And there's an invitation for you to enter into your ecosystem, whether it's joining your email list or subscribing to your newsletter or subscribing to your YouTube channel. There's a clear next step for them that you could then take them and nurture them with. That's what we're talking about when we talk about like building that right platform.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And the biggest thing that I find is a misconception, which we've discussed, is I have seen people who have, whether legitimate or not, very large followings on Instagram, for example, who cannot make it work on YouTube because they've got the look to get exposure, to get magazine covers, but they don't actually have a plan in place to actually capitalize on the attention they're getting. And in reverse, I've seen people who are just like people watching this today. I've had clients who I've shot fitness DVDs for, and I got a call one day from a pretty large Canadian magazine. I'm doing an article on the top 10 fitness DVDs that you're not aware are out there. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is like, I've got a bunch of these. And then I had clients that had big spikes in sales for DVDs that they shot in my garage. Like things like that. So people who aren't massive presences who are profiting off magazine exposure, and then people who get tons of magazine exposure but have no plan in place, and they basically crash and burn. They get the attention, which is a great vanity metric, but they don't actually have a way to monetize that or utilize that for actual brand growth and sustainability. So I always feel I have to go back and stress that to people, that this is not a story about pretty 22-year-old fitness models who get on magazine covers. This is about any one of you with a great story and a great offering and a great personality that's able to contribute something to these publications, because they're looking to sell magazines, and the people buying these magazines are just like us. And if you can do something that's got that relatability factor to it, you'd be surprised what could happen.
I'm so glad you brought up the vanity metric, because there are 3 reasons why you'd want to earn media. Number 1 is vanity. And okay, call it what it is. Like there are certain outlets I would love to shoot the cover of. It would do nothing for my career. It would just be cool as hell. Right. Second is authority amplification. To amplify your authority, to say as featured in, or, as seen in, to be able to use that when people see that, oh, wow, this individual has been featured in these different outlets, that these different outlets have essentially validated this person and their brand. It adds to your credibility. It adds to your clout. Okay. But that's something you use in your market. And then the third is lead generation, where, like, for example, if someone watches this and immediately signs up for Fitposium, that was lead generation. All right. That generated a lead for my business. So those are the 3 reasons. Now, I'll tell you about my good friend, Dave Dries. Dave has been on, I don't know, I think half a dozen major magazine covers, everything from Men's Fitness to Iron Man magazine. He's landed some pretty heavy media, and he'll lay all those out. And I admire Dave so much because he's so business savvy. He'll lay all these out and says, at face value, I did not make a penny off any of these magazine covers because magazines don't pay. All right. In fact, he says, if you were to look at direct ROI, actually lost money because he had to hire me, the photographer, to shoot all these images. And then he had to spend all the time to market and send these images out to get picked up. Right. So direct ROI, it's not like the magazines are paying him for these features, but he's turned these 3 or 4 or 5 different magazine covers into a multi-6-figure business, supporting his online program sales, his product sales, his downloadable modules and video courses, ebook sales, all of it, because he's able to show as featured in. So he's taken something that, at face value, he lost money on and turned it into a multiple 6-figure revenue every single year. In perpetuity. Like that's what we talk about when it comes to leveraging these opportunities.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that works in any business. I mean, my skill set was always good for what I do with videography and with filming. But once I worked for a massive supplement label and was shooting big commercials, I don't think those commercials are my best work. However, on paper, having worked with pro athletes and things like that, suddenly it's like, okay, then it gives you that added credibility, and then utilize that to build new business. So it works in any walk of life, but it definitely works in fitness.
And this is not something like, I mean, this is important to understand. Like yesterday, I was hired by a major national law firm to go out and to do a bunch of corporate portraits for them. And the individual who hired me was their PR lead. Okay. And he's working aggressively to get his lawyers featured in media outlets. This is something large organizations are working to do because they understand the power of it. Mm-hmm. The difference is you as a solopreneur, you as an entrepreneur are far faster, way more agile, and way more dedicated to your own brand and business than let's just say an in-house publicist could be for, because he has to market 50 people. Yep. You just have to market yourself. Yep. So you can land the same features that these large corporations are trying to get for their staff members because they understand the equity of what it can yield for them.
Right. So any of you guys that have just joined us, James is a photographer based out of Phoenix, Arizona. He has shot in upwards of 500 magazine covers. I've been doing you a disservice. I've been saying 100. So 500 magazine covers. And he hosts a podcast, and he is the founder of Fitposium, which is both an online and in-person event, which is happening September 16th to 18th in Phoenix, Arizona. And it is very unique in that it has the who's who of people in the fitness industry that will show you how to build an independent fitness brand that makes money and get the exposure that you need and how to leverage that into more money. So James is going to be giving away a free virtual pass to the conference. And all you guys have to do is basically share this live stream right now, tag us in it. You have nothing to lose because there's probably only going to be 5 or 6 people that have the energy to even do that. So do it. And that's all it takes. And then later on this afternoon, we'll do a draw over on the Facebook group. The link to the Facebook group, if you're not a part of that, is on the main channel page. And you can just basically ask to join. I will let you in and off we go. But definitely worthwhile. The tickets to this event are not cheap. This is a great thing that James is offering. And it can also be utilized to upgrade to an in-person if you'd like to go to Phoenix or are in Phoenix and would like to see things in person. I highly recommend it because it's just a good conference and there's not a lot like it. And so many of us were great trainers, we're great fitness presenters, but we don't have a lot of experience or places to go to get this education on digital marketing to build an independent brand. And as we head into a 4th wave of COVID, by the sounds of it here in Toronto, I don't know what things are like in Arizona right now, James, but having a digital brand seems like a pretty good idea over the last couple of years.
I can never fathom, I guess I can, because I can understand like the fear or the imposter syndrome, like who am I to pitch to media? Mm-hmm. but the reality is why should you not? Like, who are you not to do it? I was moderating a panel. This was about 7-8 years ago. And it was a panel of 5 different national magazine editors. And we were at this conference for let's say 3 days. And over the course of moderating this panel, the crux of what every editor was saying is you got to get in front of us. You got to share your value. You got to let us know what you can do for us. And I was just like, out of curiosity. And I looked at the first there. I says, you've been here, 3 days? I said, yeah. And there was about 50 people at this conference that I was emceeing. And I said, okay, how many of these individuals have come up over the last 3 days to introduce themselves to you? And they said 0. Okay. Went on to the next there. How many have introduced themselves to you? 0. And went down all 5 editors, and not a single attendee of this conference had the confidence to go up to these editors and introduce themselves because they were afraid. They were nervous that who am I to introduce myself? I don't want to bother them. and I was like, and I looked at the audience. It says, you just had 5 editors tell you that the only way that you can earn features is if you get in front of them, you introduce yourself, and you show what you can do for them. And
Yep.
yet everyone has just said that not a single person in 3 days has taken advantage of this opportunity. What are you going to do now? And the editors hated me at that point, because then they were bombarded for the next, several hours with people going up to them relentlessly. But this is the point. It's like, if you're not going to do this, someone else is. Okay, if you're not going to take this opportunity, someone else will. And the thing that makes Fitposium unique is it's not just the information. Like, you'll get the best information on how to do this, but it is the only conference where we will actually do opportunities for you to land features, because every one of our media partners selects attendees for features. So just by attending, people have landed, like that cover of Scott's Health Magazine. Why did she get that? At Fitposium. That cover of Fitness Magazine. Why did you get that? It was at Fitposium. All of these happen at Fitposium because our media partners are looking for people to feature, and that's part of the partnership that they have. So just by attending, you not only learn, but you get the opportunities to land the features right then and there.
That's one of the things I like too, is the fact that it's very easy to attend a conference and be told, just do these 10 things and you'll get a magazine cover. Thanks for your money. Have a good day. They're actually there. They're actually present. The opportunity is there, in addition to learning the skill set, to also continue to try and do this once you leave. That to me is again, I'm a big advocate of that, because there are so many people out there who are doing this sort of coaching, and you hear how they're making $100,000 a month as a trainer, and you're hearing how they've got this ebook that'll help you do it too, and then buy the ebook and find out how. And it's like, you get, there's no actual background there or opportunity there. It's just basically, invest your money and see what happens. So I'm applaud you guys, the fact that this is not just a story about how to do it. It's actually happening there at the time of this explanation of how to do it, which again is, to me, is very unique, because there's not enough of that.
Well, I just look at it like I would never want to host an event that I wouldn't want to attend.
Yeah.
And I attend lots of events, and I just sit and say, because when you think about attending an event, whether it's virtual or in person, you have to ask, what's in it for me? What am I going to get from this? Right. And for me, the thing I love most about events is opportunities. What opportunities? Who could I meet at this event that could change my career or change the trajectory of what I'm on?
Yep.
And if we just stack it with nothing but opportunities, well, then there's no reason not to. Because I mean, even because this goes year round. I mean, let's just say like you don't end up booking a project at the event this year, or booking a feature. Like, we've had people who booked 0 one year who went on to book 5 projects just a few months later with the same media partners. Why? Because the media partners saw them. And they're like, you know what? I can't use you now, but in 3, 4, 5 months, I can use you. That's what it's about. It's about that repetition of staying in front of these editors, and staying in front of these podcast hosts, and staying in front of these digital producers.
Right. Absolutely. So James, one of the things that I had spoken to you about too, I was thinking we'll jump in this a little bit, being that you are a very successful photographer and what's that? Oh, sorry. I'm looking at 2 different screens, and one of them you're still talking. My bad. One of the big things, going more specific into YouTube, is thumbnail design. Mm-hmm. And I've always used that analogy, is that, if you're on a street that's filled with yoga studios, and you know that you have the best yoga studio, but the yoga studio next door has a big neon sign, and you've got a piece of Bristol board in your window with, crayon, which studio are people going to walk into? To me, that's what thumbnails are all about. You can be a fantastic presenter, everything can be great about your videos, but if that initial photo isn't strong, they may never click on it.
Yep.
So I had asked people yesterday if they wanted to have some of their thumbnails reviewed. Mostly just, these are people, a lot of them are self-shooting, using either phone, like smartphone cameras, or consumer cameras and stuff like that. But I thought you might be able to give them some very basic advice on things they could improve, things you like, things you don't like, stuff like that. Just even posing. stuff, because we take for granted sometimes what we know. But I know I have a few here. Let me just bring them up.
I'm glad you're doing this, because like I think about like we often don't set ourselves up like we as consumers shop, or we as consumers consume content. Like there's a reason we watch certain videos over others as we're scrolling through the YouTube feed. It's because certain thumbnails jump out to us.
Yeah.
And I mean, same thing with Instagram posts, same thing with Instagram stories. We forget why we even engage with content when we're trying to create our own content. So I think this is important.
Yeah, for sure. And any of you guys that are listening, keep in mind, this is a conversation, it's non-dictatorship. If you have questions, whether it's related to thumbnails, related to Fitposium, exposure, and that, fire them off at any time. Just let us know. But we will start going through the thumbnails now. And grab share screen. All right, can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can see
the first one's mine, so you can ignore that. All right, first one we've got here is Muna, I believe it is. So Muna is relatively new. I started talking with him just over the past few weeks, so I'm not sure how long he's been following the channel, but he had submitted this. He was just wondering any feedback that you can give him.
I mean, the headline is direct to the point, which I like, but the image doesn't connect to what the headline is, in my opinion. Like, I'd want there to be like, and not that I need photos of people like showing off a bunch of skin, but if it's an ab workout, I'd want to know, like, I'd at least want to see abs. That would make sense to me. The gradient background,
that's a Canva thing. I do not like Canva. Muna, if you're listening, you can let me know if I'm right or wrong. A lot of people use Canva. They feel their backgrounds don't look good in that. I would rather just even my video screen, I would rather see all that crap in the background than have a blank screen behind me of me in a virtual office or something. And one of the things I've always told people is if you don't like the space you have in your home, go outside. Just find something that gives a bit of depth to the picture. But continue.
One of the things that I like about it is the specificity, like that this is only going to take 10 minutes of my time. I think that's important, because if I don't know what I'm getting into when I click that thumbnail, that's going to be a problem for me.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if there could be a little more specificity in like what about the ab workout is unique without being too text heavy. Yeah. But like a 10-minute beginner ab workout, okay, I get what it's about. But is there a certain like how good is this ab workout? How like is this like why is this ab workout better than other ab workouts? Yeah. So I would drop the gradient background. I would rather see like more of a bokeh image. So like, you and I both have that where our backgrounds are completely blurred out. Yeah. But there is something behind us. So it's not distracting. Right. Okay. Like I would not say your background, even though there's a lot behind you, it's not distracting at all because it's out of focus and you're lit differently than your background. And then I would just say like I would want the image to connect with the headline and then a little more energy. Yeah. Like I would say, Muna, just from the thumbnail standpoint of it, just I would rather your background, if you were going to go this direction, be entirely white than you're wearing a blue shirt with a blue background with a green glow. The colors you could look up your own thumbnail and see how it comes up with other 10-minute beginner abs workouts. And you can decide yourself whether or not you feel yours jumps off the screen. Like anytime, just as an example, when I have trainers come in and shoot with me here in the studio doing fitness videos, I always recommend they wear vibrant colors. Reason being, this is a loft and it's got a lot of earth tones. It's got brick walls. It's got very old, hardwood floors.
you know, a lot of those earthy tones. So something needs to pop. That's the full-on reason why Pac-Man does not move during fitness videos, because it's just a big yellow thing in the background, and it just, you know, and then even some of the artwork on the wall, you've got Skeletor and Joker and stuff, but at least it's colors. It's not so much the what the actual pictures are of, because usually it's got a little bit of a blur on it anyway. But yeah, just a little more energy. Again, James, you can speak to this more than me, but in terms of his pose, like it's the arms folded thing. If you get up,
well, he's covering his abs.
Yeah, if you're down like this, to me that's insecurity. If you're up like this, at least it's a little more of a hero. Or, you know, hands in the hips, maybe a slight turn, things like that. But play around with it, Muna. Try some different things, and then check your impressions.
So when I look at, like, I just ran a quick YouTube search over 10-minute abs to see what's jumping out at me. Like, and it will be interesting to see if I can show it without it playing. No, it's going to play it. But it's like there's one person, she's wearing like kind of purple leggings in front of like a gray wall. So she's popping out, and then she's showing off her abs, not in a exploitative way, like she's wearing a covered outfit, but she's still kicking her hip to the side. She's still showing her abs, and there's just big words on either side of her, 10-minute, and then abs on the other side of her. For some of the men's ones, you know, there's this one where I think I can show it. Like there's a photo to one side of him showing off his abs, and then on the right side, it's him doing an actual crunch, right?
Right.
With the headline right over him. You know, here's another one of someone mid crunch, and the headline's right over him, mid crunch. It said 10-minute ab workout, no equipment. So no equipment would be more that specificity. Yeah. Here's another one, 10-minute ab workout plus weights. Okay, so I know that one involves weights. Yeah. So I'm getting a little more detail and context, but every single ab exercise or routine thumbnail I'm seeing shows the core in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, and again, like I know my stuff is like, I'm not a photographer by trade, but I always try and make the picture the star, because whatever I write on my thumbnail, you obviously want people to know it's kettlebells. You want that to be nice and clear. But what's on the thumbnail is not going to help you rise in search results. It's going to be what's in your actual title. So I'm very big on, you know, 10-minute beginner ab workout. For the actual title you write in your description, that's fine, because that is how people, you know, there's a lot of people on YouTube that are at that beginner level, and they search for exercise videos based on time, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's totally normal. That's actually a very good thing. Your thumbnail allows you to be a little more creative. You can add little elements. You can add a little bit of branding, things like that, to, you know, you still want, again, whatever the dominant thing is in your workout, it's good to have that word somewhere on the screen, I think. But to me, it's like, it can be just, you know, let the photo speak for it. Now, again, I can't compare this to what other people have, because I've got an actual professional camera and stuff, but just an example. And, you know, for me, it's just, yeah, like it's just trying to, because you want to kind of entice people to click through. You want it to be something kind of exciting, kind of intriguing. And like you had mentioned with Muna, he's covering up his abs, which is the subject, and wherever he's at is totally covered up as well. So you really know nothing about this, and it's just as easy to flip by it to the next one than it is to click through. So I would try a few, Muna, without the gradient background. Maybe keep your colors vibrant and keep the colors behind you a little less vibrant, unless it's natural. You're outside or something like that. And then compare the difference. I could totally eat turds on this. I could be wrong, but that's my feeling, is your impressions will be higher on a different version. Anything else, James, before we go to the next one?
Nope.
So this is Elaine. Elaine is actually one of my clients, and she does several workouts a week, and basically does her photos after the workouts. She'll do self photos on. I think she uses her phone. I'm not sure, Elaine, if you're listening, you can let me know. I think she was listening. Any thoughts?
So I like the idea that she has in the pink semi-transparent great block there.
Mhm.
But I think like a little thing that could have, that would only take a few extra minutes, and I'm guessing most photo apps would do this, is if she were to run that pink gradient over the entire photo and
Mhm.
then just cut herself out and then paste herself on top of the pink gradient. So the
Mhm.
background falls in that pink gradient. So like you and me, our backgrounds are blurred, but
Yeah.
it's a way to cut her out of the background while still having the background, still having her in a sense of place, but adding that pink cover to it brings her out more, makes her more the subject.
Yeah.
Okay. So currently, like, it kind of covers up her arm a little bit, and one could say that the railing behind her has just as much prominence in the photo as she does. But
Mhm.
having that pink run across the whole thing, one, it's going to capture my attention right away, because like my YouTube, it's set to the dark mode, right? So it's a black background.
Yeah.
Pink would jump off of that really quick. And if she's just cut out of that, so she looks exactly like she does, like she's reasonably well lit in this,
Mhm.
she's going to pop out even more. And I like the big text too.
What are your thoughts? A couple things that I'm just noticing from this one. This is a little different than some of her regular thumbnails. She's a
Mm-hmm.
little more close up, which I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Two things that I'm just thinking: the actual vibrance of the photo, and Elaine and I have talked about this. What are your thoughts on the ball cap? Because I mean, I feel that it does cast a bit of a shadow on her face. She's a pretty woman. Do you think that could be a deterrent in the sense, as far as the styling of the photo itself, or do you think it's fine? Or are you indifferent?
I'm more indifferent about it.
Yeah.
It's not making or breaking it for me.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
I
we're
actually like the hat. The reason that her and I have discussed it is in her videos, it's she doesn't actually communicate with the audience. It's basically the music. She does the exercises. And so again, I think back to that average YouTube consumer who, if they're not able to somehow, like, they're not verbally making that connection with her. So when the hat's down low, is that, so then obviously maybe less eye contact is being made. And from the perspective of developing that community with somebody who might be at a beginner to intermediate level, who's looking to be a little bit handheld going through a workout, they're not hearing her talk.
Mhm.
So is that almost like the arms folded with Muna, where it's almost a bit of a thing where the hat's over the eyes, and you know what I mean?
So she's saying her hair's unruly and she's hiding her wrinkles, which was making me laugh. So here's the thing, Elaine. Like right now, I mean, if you were to look at my video, I'm wearing the brim of my hat forward. So, and my camera is above eye level, right? So as I'm looking at my computer, I'm almost covering my eyes with the bill of my hat, right? Now, you're not totally covering your eye, but you're definitely covering your eyebrows. One of the things that's so amazing about light, especially because the sun looks like it's behind you versus in front of you, is the more light you get, the more it erases wrinkles or imperfections. So like I have a light right here, and you can see that as my face is down, my hat and the brim of my hat is casting a shadow across my face.
Mhm.
If you were just to like here with that left hand here, lifting the hat up, holding the bill, one, it opens your face up more. You still can have the arm flexing and posing, so you're just here. It's a little bit more inviting. It lifts your face up. You allow more light to hit your face, which is going to cover up if there are wrinkles on your face that you're worried about. Like the more light you're exposing yourself to, the softer it can make your skin. And it's welcoming, it's fun, it's engaging. I love the flex though on the right arm. I would keep that. because I think that, I mean, obviously, Elaine is in amazing shape, and she's showing like, this is how I feel after I just did this workout. Okay. So it's kind of like an energetic celebration, but even just tipping up, allowing a little more light. I mean, you can even just see like how much more light hits my face just when I do that right here. That could open up that photo a little bit more if she didn't want to just turn the hat all the way around.
What's your feeling towards, like, Elaine? I might be wrong here. You can let me know, but based on where Elaine shoots her videos, I think right now she is actually facing her house because the railings off to her right side. So there's definitely no sun coming in towards her face. Would she be better off facing the other way in terms of getting some natural light in your face? And just to more generalize that question, if somebody is shooting outside, because I do have people that I work with that do shooting outside, and they're always, if there's like shadows on their face, or they're squinting, or where is a great spot for the sun to be if they're doing their thumbnail shot? Okay, here we go.
All right, so let's play with this,
because I think this is something that a lot of them go through. And guys, if you shoot outside, pay attention, because this is important.
All right, so this is about as close to the sun as I can get. So let me turn this off. All right. So in front of me, like, sunlight can actually be a little intense and harsh, right? And notice how, like, if the sun is here, like, I'm losing all detail here. All right, it's just falling in shadow. Okay. Now she's about like this in the shot. Sun's kind of behind her. So, lifting the face up, she's allowing it. This is called gray light. Gray light's kind of like shade. Okay. It depends where the sun is. The lower the sun is in the horizon, the softer it can generally be, because it's straight on versus like up here, which is creating a lot of these harsh shadows.
Right.
Okay. Typically, like, if I'm using natural light, I want to be in gray light. This is gray light right here. Let me just get rid of it. But imagine the camera will naturally open up. So there's not really a lot of shadows, just because, you're in gray light. So I look for, like, if the sun is behind the house and it's casting this long shadow, okay, I'd probably be in that shadow area. Okay. Shooting towards the house, not shooting out where the background's really bright and overexposed, but shooting towards the house and just using that gray light. Okay. And I wonder if I have an example in here of this magazine of a gray light shot. I don't. Gray light is just going to be your softest light. Okay. If you're shooting indoors, it's going to be a north facing window, because the sun is not in the northern hemisphere. So, like, it's always indirect light. Okay. Now, if I had a light, which I do, what I love to do is I like the sun behind me, some way, shape, or form behind me. And the reason I like that is because it's separating me from the background. Right. Okay. I mean, you can see it just highlighting. And then with the light here, now I'm separated from the background and I'm well lit. Okay. So typically when I'm shooting outside, this is the setup I have, where the sun is behind the subject, acting as a hair light. Okay. If I want the sun in the shot, and then I'm supplementing light on the foreground, so that I'm exposed. Okay. All right. But if I don't have that light right there, I'm just going to gray light. Okay. Because gray light, it's soft, it's flattering, and it's just such a beautiful light to work with naturally, that you just can't go wrong. So north side of the house, north facing windows, that's going to be your best gray light.
So for any of you guys that are filming outside, that's some really good advice, because obviously you're not using lighting kits. You're dependent on natural light. And in some cases, like, it's good to time even the time of day that you're filming to, if you've got a particular background that you want to use, that may not work at 2:30 in the afternoon. Just knowing where the sun is in the sky. So really think about that kind of stuff, because again, at the end of the day, the aesthetic of your workout is going to be part of the experience of people who join your community. So that was a good one. Okay. So hopefully that helps a little bit, Elaine.
I just want to show like what gray light looks like.
Sure.
This is gray light.
Okay.
That's gray light. So I'm using a north-facing window. I'm
Mhm.
using no lights on this shot. This is all natural light. And it's just like there's no shadow in
Yeah.
it. There's no shadow. I don't know where my hands are. There's no shadow in this shot. It's just this is just what she looks like. Let me
Yeah.
get it out of
There we go.
the light. Yeah. So soft light, it's natural, it's extraordinarily flattering.
Mhm.
And most cameras are able to capture this. Even your phone could
Yeah.
capture this. Like I could take a similar shot with my iPhone just because everything is evenly exposed in this shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. It's good stuff. All right. Who's up next?
That is so funny. I literally just saw that on YouTube. That exact one.
Which, this here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was as I was just looking through. I'm almost positive I saw that. That is so funny.
Caitlin, I don't know if she's here today or not, but I know she frequents a lot of the live streams, or she watches them later. She's in the community as well. She has some photography experience, and I think her thumbnails show that.
Yeah. The headline works really well. I like the use a chair. Pose works great. I think her framing's right. Like she uses the rule of thirds, where she's in 1/3, the headline's in the other third. The only thing that I guess there's two things. One, it's that I can't see that that's a chair because it looks exactly like the wall behind
Yeah.
her. And I don't know where the wall ends or where the chair begins. Also, I think it would have been helpful if that arrow was a little bit more obvious.
Right.
Like if that arrow was like maybe a different color, like maybe like a contrast color, like a real pop,
Yeah.
to point out. Those are the only two things I think that would really take that to just a higher level. Because otherwise, like if it weren't for that headline, she could be talking about how to build a fence,
Yeah.
right?
Thoughts on the pose? Flattering, unflattering? Like, I
I mean,
like that. I think it
yeah,
accentuates legs and booty.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's showing exactly what what she's focusing on. The only thing I would watch for, and she's fine, like she didn't make this mistake, but what I would look out for is when people do a pose like that, their back arm, sometimes they hide it. Don't hide
Right.
your back arm. So the fact that you can still see her elbow is good, but never allow that back arm to just fall completely behind the body. I'd rather see a little more separation in that back left arm, where if she's bending it just a little bit as she's pulling it back, we would have a little window right there. I would prefer that, but that's just splitting hairs.
Is she too close to the fence?
I mean, if she were further away from it, I guess it depends where the top of the fence is. Because what I would not want is to see the top of the fence and to see all the crap behind the fence,
Yeah.
and that being like right behind her head, because
Right.
that would just be too distracting. So she may just be closer to the fence just because it allows her to use the fence as a composition tool. But if she could get further away from the fence, it would create some more distance between her and the fence. It also looks like she's using the fence as a natural flag for the light, because it looks like the sun is right behind the fence, because you can see that highlight of sun right on her nose.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the top of the fence is right above the frame, the sun is right behind there, and if she moves out too far from the fence, she's going to be in that weird intense sun.
Yeah.
So she's kind of using it to flag the light and as a backdrop at the same time. So this would be an example, by the way, of gray light.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, like even going back to Muna's photo, this is an example, Muna, of like Caitlin's doing a legs and booty workout, and she's accentuating her booty, and just the pose and the angle and everything is basically showcasing the body part that she's going to exercise in the video. So in comparison to having, the abs almost covered up with the arms folded, this is something more like, you may not want to be pulling the shirt up doing ab stuff, but certainly not covering your abdomen for an ab video thumbnail. Just psychologically, I just personally don't think it works, but this is a good example of showcasing the body part that you're going to be training that day. But, all right, so there's Caitlin. Next, we have Joelle. Joelle is located in Germany. She's got a really good following on her channel. does a lot of specific yoga videos for hip pain, neck pain, like all kinds of different joint pain and stuff. And she submitted this one. So this is a video that she says, it's a video that she can't figure out why it isn't doing better. Her hip pain videos usually do a lot better than this one has.
I like the photo.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I don't have any issues with the photo. Maybe some time specificity would help. But then again, I've never looked for yoga videos online, so I don't know if how important time is when it comes to yoga.
And that could also be in her written title as well. And typically it does come up in the lower corner of the video. When you're looking on YouTube, like it'll show 27 minutes.
If it's in the title.
So I mean, it's in there. It's definitely not predominant in there, but
I just want to look up hip pain yoga to see what pops up. So one of the things that I'm seeing a lot when it comes to like searching for anything related to pain in yoga is the word relief or relieve in the thumbnail.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if that could be something to help give a little more clarity and context to this. I don't know how I feel about the fonts.
See, the font doesn't bother me too much. The thing that I look at with it, and I'm like you, I like the pose as well, but with the eyes shut, I'm not big on that, just in terms of like the lack of eye contact, because it's one of those things for trying to make that connection through a photo or through a video. Yeah. Joe. The other thing is being as close to the wall. I like the wall and I like her, but then the skin tones match the wall. So I always think of people 2-3 days before they want to do a hip pain yoga video, they're actually searching for it on their phone. So, you take a photo like this and it's tiny. And so they're browsing through, and it's like when they're going straight up where it's basically just scrolling through these videos, does this one come off as just one big neutral kind of beigey color with hip pain yoga? So you've got hip pain there, you've got your title, they can see what it is, but maybe because of the colors kind of all blending, it's not jumping at them. But it makes me wonder if the head was turned, the eyes were open, a subtle smile, and then maybe what if instead of bare legs she had on neon tights or something like that. I'm just talking, not that the wardrobe needs to change, but the colors not as being as close. And again, you can speak to this much better than I can. That's just what pops into my head looking for a problem.
So I pulled up her channel because I wanted some context, because you said that other of her videos do well. Every other video she has on her channel, she has a different aesthetic design for how she does her thumbnails, where she cuts herself out. So you don't see the brick wall, you don't see the background. She cuts herself out and puts kind of like almost like a fake muslin backdrop, right? So that's part of it, is where she stands out more, where she's not fading into the background. The other part is she's a lot more descriptive in her thumbnails. So like, here's one she has that has 23,000 views, where instead of just having the title like this one, it says hip pain yoga. One, she's using a much bolder font, like an Arial bold. Okay. And it says bursitis and hip pain. And then there's a sub headline, seated 10-minute routine. Here's another one she has that has 12,000 views. Bursitis and hip pain, yin yoga. And then there's a subhead, supine 30-minute routine. So in most of her other videos, she's using these big headlines and then smaller subheads that give more detail and context as to what is being featured in this video. And this is one of her only videos which has much less views. I mean, it's more recent than a lot of her other videos, but in comparison, it has less views. But it also has a different design and aesthetic. So if there are subscribers to a channel, it might look different
Right.
than other stuff on her channel. Then also for people searching, it might not give as much detail or context in a quick glance as some of her other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Joel, I would say check your click-through rates on this one to find out, because I mean, there's two different things. You've got a pretty good community built already. See if they're watching it. If maybe are they bypassing it, or is it the fact that it's being bypassed in terms of impressions and click-through rates? The analytics will give you a pretty good idea on that. Just do a couple of comparables. You can do comparison searches using analytics as well, but yeah, other than that, I think it is quite good. It's just that might be what it is. It's just getting lost in the shuffle in search results, you know, or maybe they're looking for some more context in the actual thumbnail or things like that. So yeah, so hopefully that helps a little bit. What do we got next? Next we have Jamie. Jamie does a lot of hip hop dance, and hula hoop workouts and stuff. Jamie just recently found us over the last few weeks, and she's doing a big push on her channel now to grow. So this is an example of one of hers.
So and just out of curiosity, are all of her workouts hula hoop workouts, or this is unique to her?
No, she does most of what I've seen is a lot of hip hop dance. Jamie, you can jump in if you're listening. I know she was at 1017, so we'll see if she comes back. Badass Mama Fitness is Jamie. Mm-hmm. So she does a lot of hip hop dance stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I really like this. I like the image. Also gray light. Mm-hmm. I like the 10-minute little logo right there.
Yeah.
And when I look up other like hula hoop workouts, like it is so, I'm not finding a lot.
Yeah.
It is not something that I'm finding a lot of. So like, you know, comparison, there's a lot of crap that I'm seeing. This would stand out. Like to me, it looks very well done.
Yeah. Jamie, is this a professionally done photo, or did you do this photo yourself? It looks very well done. And I do like it's even the thumbnail is extremely well done in that gray backdrop, but you've got, you know, the pink accent, and then you get the blue accent, which works well with the pink, and then the white, and then a little 10-minute, like everything blends nicely. It's a very good example of a thumbnail. I actually like that you're up close, you're looking at the camera, you've got a smile, you know, which again, it does, when you're trying to build a community, you're trying to connect with people, and sometimes reaching out and connecting to people through a camera is not easy, but when you make eye contact, I do think that helps a lot.
Yeah, and when I look at, and I pulled up her channel, I look at a lot of her other videos, because it's dance, and a lot of them, she's really small in the frame.
Yeah.
And the ones that I feel work best are the ones where she's a little closer to the camera, so I can just connect with her a little more.
Yeah, like yeah, so she said this is a self-taken shot. She used a window for natural light, and she did the thing on she did the thumbnail on Canva, which I typically hate, but this was very well done. I have nothing really to say about it. For self-shot and not being a photographer, and just the layout, it works very well for me.
Yeah, it's a good balance of colors too.
But I think Jamie, like I'm not even sure. I probably saw this going over your channel, but like James had mentioned, a lot of what I saw were kind of like the screen cap shots with, you still laid it out nicely, like you've got good aesthetic taste. Yeah. But this up close, you're attractive. You're making eye contact, being like more of these. I would highly recommend it to do that, and then just do the comparables. Look at your click-through rates and your impressions and stuff with this based on one of the shots where you're farther away. I would dare say you'll probably see quite a difference. So, but yeah, no, I thought that was really good. And Vera, Vera is from Belarus, and she does a lot of general fitness stuff. Vera, if you're listening right now, let me know if I'm missing anything here. A lot of cardio, a lot of HIIT stuff. She shoots indoors. Any thoughts or feelings or?
I feel like the text is a little too much. Like it's a little hard to read. Maybe because it's all the same color, but it's just different weights to it. Like sexy legs kind of gets lost. HIIT's the first thing I see. Then my eyes kind of go from big to small. So HIIT's the first thing I see, then to 15 minutes, then down to sexy legs. And then there's that logo, which is kind of like like more gray than white. That it's like, is it HIIT FVT? Like it, is that part of it?
I think it's VFit is what it's supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's a weird placement for it right next to the text. So it's getting lumped in with the text. And then cardio and strength, like I might not see it all. And it's a really nice picture. Gorgeous setup. I mean, the light's perfect. I could see that being cropped in a little more. Just to bring her up, cut out some of the space below her foot and some of the space above her head, just so she's even bigger in the frame. Or even just, no, because she's holding the band down with her foot, so you can't crop out her legs. But yeah, the text is just too distracting. And I would say, like, if it were less text, number one, I think cardio and strength can just go out altogether.
Yeah.
I don't think that needs to be there. 15-minute HIIT for sexy legs, I think would look better. And then if the logo was not next to the text at all, throw the logo up in the upper left or the bottom left, get it away from all that text, because the logo it's a text-based logo. That's going to clean up that text and just make it easier to look at.
Yeah. Like if I were to make even quick response to this, like I would, if the logo stays, I would take this logo and I would put it over in this corner and make it smaller. So it's down here somewhere, just away from that. And if Vera, you feel everything in here needs to stay, even taking sexy legs and cardio and strength and maybe changing the color to match your tights, like a kind of a gold accent, just to break it up a little bit, and it'll make 15-minute HIIT pop. And doing these poses, I agree. I actually like the picture. But I also agree with you where I think this would be better if it kind of cut her off right around mid-thigh and she was brought forward, because it's still going to show off, your quads and your bum, which are what we're kind of using as selling points, and not having the band under the leg, but it could be just as simple as having it held over your shoulder and look at the camera. I like the idea of looking at the camera, and I'm kind of going against things that I personally do sometimes, but doing kind of that superhero looking off into the sunset picture, it is a nice photo. But if you're going to do it for YouTube, look at the camera and make eye contact with the person who's looking at you, or have yourself posed in such a way that it looks like it's between sets of the workout. So it almost looks like an action shot. This looks very staged. And again, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty photo, but it looks very staged. And I don't think it helps with that community building, trying to connect on an emotional level with potentially somebody watching. It sounds like a lot of overkill talk, but I do believe in this stuff. That would be the only thing I would say. And I think we have one more. Or maybe that's it. I thought we had one with KJ. Unless I missed it. Oh, I think I missed one. There we go. So this is KJ, and she is from Sweden, I think, and she's also lives in Dubai at times. KJ, if you're listening, you can correct me on that. I don't think she's actually here, she's saying. Okay, so her thoughts around this thumbnail, since I probably won't be there to chat, decided to do some changes to our thumbnails So from now on, we are using real pictures and no cutouts. We are still doing the colored frames, and the idea is to make the thumbnail pop and stand out, as well as create a more personal touch to it. I'm trying to use a color palette that matches me and my outfit, keeping the text short but to the point and at a good size so it's easy to read no matter what device you are using. 4K logo is included to show that it's good quality filming. I'm not sure about the photo. Might be too plain and boring. Just interested in your thoughts. Okay, so
she's in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I thought she had mentioned she had moved recently, though. But maybe she's back. I don't know.
So I like the colored frame, because as I'm scrolling, like it's gonna highlight the video a little bit more. Kind of like how people put like circles around their photos on Instagram now, like their headshots, just to make their headshots pop a little more.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that. I like the color branding. I don't know how much I care about the 4K full HD. Maybe people do. I don't. It's rare I watch a video on YouTube on anything else other than my phone.
Yeah.
So, like,
it's funny. Like I had the same thought when I saw that, but I will say that when I've come across her videos, because they come up my recommended videos, that catches my eye every time. I'm kind of like you. I wonder
so it
if
makes you pause.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a moot point or not. But You know what? There are people out there that have really low quality phone videos.
If it gets you to pause, that's a good thing.
And you have to sift through that. So maybe having that little emblem there is not a bad idea. That's why I've never, because I wondered that.
I don't see anyone else doing it.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that if she is doing it, she's going to stand out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of those things that I don't think it's hurting her.
No. The pose feels a little like cutesy versus like, I mean, when I think of like a HIIT workout, I think intensity. So I don't know if the pose is matching what I would expect in the video. So perhaps a little more energy and or like, even that kind of like, we do those typical shots of the person post workout, hands on the knees, just breathing hard, just because they absolutely crushed it. But like photos like that get picked up by magazines all the time because it indicates like, yeah, we did this and we are damn exhausted, but that was such a great thing. And we just need to catch our breath for a moment. Like,
oh, there she is.
Headline. I like that she says that there's no jumping involved. Like, I actually really like that specificity because if I'm nervous about jumping or if I have a bad knee, okay, so that's something. The weight of the headline feels a little clunky to me. So like 30-minute, like, but the minutes is in lowercase and it's in a different font face. Not that everything needs to be in the same font face, but then all of a sudden no jumping HIIT is center justified. So it just looks like HIIT is floating in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think it could be cleaned up to say 30-minute HIIT and then no jumping below it. I think would have a little more clarity.
I think if you're going to use different fonts in your thumbnails, make them very visibly different. Those to me, like you said,
that's a Futura and an Arial.
Yeah.
So they're both sans serif, but they're weighted so differently.
Yeah. I would say too, KJ, just little tidbits of stuff. I would tighten the gap between no jumping and HIIT. It's kind of a big gap there. And like James had mentioned, like even something like an impact or something up here, just to make it a little bit different. And in terms of the color, I like the idea of matching the color with the outfit. I actually do think that looks good, but I don't think it has to be exactly the color palette. I think if it's in the same, like you've heard me talk about, my studio has a lot of warm colors. They're not all the same color. It's just, it's kind of a palette of colors. So I would rather see this a little more of a vibrant burgundy, I guess is what that would be, and maybe semi-opaque, and then match this color with that color or something, just to give it a little more vibrance. Because again, it's that thing where, you know, the picture's good, the thumbnail's good, but the dark background and the dark tights, and it kind of gets lost. So you think of that person who's scrolling fast, you almost look like a floating torso in a sense. You know, just again, this is very much nitpicking. Overall, I think it's quite good. But any thoughts on that, James? Colors and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you want to pop off against the background, and I do like the background, like it's clean, and they
Mm-hmm.
they try to crop out the planter on the right side and the flower planter on the kind of above on the left. But yeah, if she was, whether it's through lighting, because this is once again an example of gray light. But if she were lit to be brighter and or just wore a color that popped her off that dark wood behind her, that would help.
And aside from whether or not the you mentioned that you weren't sure if the pose matched up with the genre of workout, the pose itself, is that a good pose, a bad pose? Is there any tweaks to that pose if she was dead set on using that pose?
If someone were to do that pose, I would probably do a couple different things. One is flat hands, like you see her left hand just flattens out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like what it does to the shoulder and to the elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Even just taking the weight, you could still have the hand down, but take the weight off the hand.
Okay.
That way your back is a little more upright. You're not putting as much of your weight into that left side. Another thing we do is we just have the person lift their fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Or excuse me, lift the palm of their hand. So only the fingers are touching the ground. It's a great way to take the weight off that arm. So your back is a little more upright. You're not leaning into that side. And then if you really wanted to take it up, then what you could do is with that right leg, which is just kind of like semi-bent, is you can bend it more and point the toe. It will give the leg a lot of definition to point that right toe. So the toe touches the ground, the heel's off the ground. You're creating a nice angle with the leg that's creating a leading line back into your body.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of shapes out the body a little bit more. And it closes how much space you're taking up, which means you can crop in the photo more so you can be bigger in the frame.
Okay. Perfection.
And she could even, like, if she had that right knee up higher, then that right elbow, instead of just laying that arm flat, that right elbow could be on the right knee.
Yeah.
And then like hand, kind of hand into the head like that.
Perfect. Thank you, Elaine. It is good. I like going through these.
Yeah, it's fun.
We should do a simulcast sometime. You have a model in the studio and go over like a variety of thumbnail poses and stuff with somebody right there that you can position and move them around. Because I'm a visual learner, so I'm imagining everything you're describing there, but I'd love to see it actually
in real
maneuvered
time
into place and stuff. That'd be cool. But all right, so we'll leave that at that. So guys, again, if get this off. Oops, not leave studio. Stop sharing. Okay. So if any of you haven't already, number one, make sure you like this video if you like this video. And also share this live stream, share the channel, and tag James and myself in it. And you'll automatically be put into a draw we're going to do this afternoon for a free virtual pass to James's Fitposium Conference. And James, just in case anybody new jumped in here, can you give a bit of a rundown on the expectation they should have for Fitposium?
Absolutely. So what we do with Fitposium is we focus on teaching you how to build market and profit from your brand in the health and wellness space. But we're the only conference that actually gets you in front of leading media outlets. So at the conference, we have 32 media partners, including 17 different magazines, 9 different podcasts, 6 different digital publications that are offering opportunities to land media features in each one of their outlets. So just by attending, you get the opportunity to land media features with all these amazing outlets that we have partnered with this. And that's everything from Oxygen Magazine to Strong Fitness Magazine, Inside Fitness, Fitness Magazine, Muscle and Health Magazine. I mean, we have some amazing partners lined up for us.
Super duper. And people that want to learn some more about it, Fitposium.com.
Fitposium.com.
Fitposium.com, guys, for information on tickets, both virtual passes and in-person passes. You can also see a list of the speakers and what they do there. You might even see me on the page somewhere.
You might.
I gotta get a new picture done. That picture's showing up in too many places. Wearing a toque in August. But
well, you look so cover model-esque though.
You know, it's funny. When I left my last job, I had the nice corporate looking dress shirt picture. And I'm like, you know what? That's not me. It's not. There's a reason why I'm here right now with the Joker and video games. Like, just dress like you want to dress and whatever. Niche down.
I could see that on the cover of like some young entrepreneurial magazine.
So that's basically it, guys. J Patrick photo. I'm gonna mark it into the comments there. If you guys aren't already, you're not already following James on Instagram. Fitposium's coming up September 16th to 18th. Is that correct, James?
You got it.
September 16th to 18th. A lot of good information there. I don't recommend anything to you guys that I don't think is a value add. And what I mean by value add is value for your spend. I'm not going to send you to a $5,000 two-day course. I'm going to recommend things that I think you're getting a good deal on and more information for what you're spending. I think there are a lot of avenues that some of you guys who I do know want to be full-time digital creators and utilize that to make money through affiliate marketing, one-on-one training, online one-on-one training, all those different things. This is a place to get a lot of the info that you're not going to get from me. I've got my specialties. I stay in my lane. But if there's a conference I can recommend this year for you guys to check out, this would be it. But I do recommend you go to fitposium.com, look it over for yourself, see if it's for you. If you have questions, reach out to James. He's easy to get a hold of. Reach out to me if you don't get a hold of James, and see what it's all about. But I do highly recommend it. And if any of you guys have any questions after today, like I said, leave them in the comments, get a hold of me, get a hold of James. And I think that is it, James. We've been going for an hour and 45 minutes. Time flies.
It is amazing how quick it goes whenever we do these, and I love the interactive element of it, to be able to look at those thumbnails and give real-time feedback. I think that was really cool.
Yeah, no, and that's why I like the live stream in general. I've used this as an example. This particular channel, my second channel, when I did my first live stream in late December of 2020, I had about 150 subscribers. And literally that day, when I go back on my analytic, you can see the upturn. And I've spoken to people about this, and they felt there was such a difference between produced videos where I'm talking and going on about certain subject matters to having this interactive thing where I'm in a more conversational tone, talking to people like yourself. They're able to ask questions. And I think it built a trust value with my brand, which has helped me. And that's why I do recommend a lot of these guys to consider doing live streams for their workouts. Because I think it's that little extra thing that, with everybody trying to have all the answers for fitness, in order to stand out, then you have to find some way to make that emotional connection. Because again, with me personally, I feel fitness is more of an emotional purchase than an analytical purchase. They want to be working with someone they like and someone that they think gets them. And that's not stuff that can be done just through the workout itself. So yeah, and that's one of the things.
I always look at it like you have three jobs when you're running a business. Job number one is you got to build awareness. And you teach that so well, which is how do you get people to actually know you exist? But more than just know you exist, know why you matter to them. Okay, because we as consumers, we're selfish, rightfully so. Number two, in what you're talking about right now, that so many people skip over, because they skip right to number three, which is conversion opportunities. They expect once people know who I am, then they're going to want to buy, right? doesn't work that way. You have to have that middle, which is the nurture sequence.
Yeah.
And doing things like this, it's a nurturing for your audience. It's reinforcing why you matter to them by giving them immense value before they've ever even swiped a credit card with you. You're showing up for them, you're solving their problems, you're helping them, you are nurturing that relationship. And some people need to be nurtured a long time, and that's okay, because consumer behavior dictates that consumers only purchase when they are ready to purchase, not when we want them to purchase, not when we think they need to purchase. They purchase when they're ready to purchase. So we have to have that system in place to nurture our audience consistently, so that we are constantly reinforcing the value that we are giving to them, so that we are shortening that time frame that it takes for them to be ready to do that conversion.
Yep, absolutely. Can't agree more with that. So on that note, guys, we will call it a day, and thank you guys all for tuning in, and make sure you check out fitposium.com and follow James on social media. If any of you guys are not a member of the private Facebook group, make sure you jump over there. The link is on the main channel page, and I will do that draw this afternoon, and I will announce it on the thing. I'll put the names in a hat. We'll pull it out so you can see who gets the thing, and then I'll get you in touch with James, and you may be able to attend the conference free of charge.
Awesome. Thank
James,
you so much, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, man. I know you're very busy right now. I appreciate you coming on. We learned a lot today. I think there's a lot of stuff with Fitposium that, again, I think it's very easy for people to pass judgment on what it might be and whether or not it applies to them. I think now they know it does apply to them. And if any of you guys are very serious about building your brands, this is something to look into, and then you can make the decision from there. So check it out, fitposium.com. James, thank you once again. And we will talk to you guys next week. I believe Joe Arco is joining us again next week in studio. So no doubt there'll be some shenanigans there. So talk to you guys soon, and have a great day and weekend.
Take care, buddy. Take care, everyone.
And